I want to tell you about it. It has to do with trash pickup. We had more than one constituent, Senator Sokola and I, more than one constituent raise concerns about early hour trash pickup. Early hour trash pickup. Please shake your head if you've ever encountered this. Senator Sokola and I were like, well, let's find out what the rules are. And we found out that DENREC has a rule that says between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., you may not make noise by loading and unloading trash containers. It has some other things in it, but so you can't dump them into a truck, and for that matter, your neighbor shouldn't be filling it at 2 a.m. also. Okay, so it's actually in a part of the code, state law. DENREC has to enforce, or DENREC's responsible for doing the regs for it, saying that, and this is in a non-vehicle part of the code. All right, this matters. Stay with me; it's worth it. So, so we said to DENREC, can you enforce this? They're like, well, we don't really like enforcing. We don't really have the people to do it. It's something where we've set the regs, you've set the law, we've set the regs. Can't you just have it reported by the police? How the police do it? So we reached out to Newcastle County, and they're like, well, yeah, but we have a county ordinance that says you can't, the trash trucks can't operate and pick up between 8:30 p.m. and 6 a.m. Wait a second. 6 a.m. is different than 7 a.m. And if you're letting people collect between 6 and 7 a.m., that violates the state law. I think we have a problem here. Houston, we have a problem. And so what do you do when you have a problem? You bring two lawyers together. That's always going to end well, right? So county lawyer, state lawyer got together and, surprise, surprise, agreed to disagree. Agreed on a few things. The important part is they agreed to disagree. I love the this is sarcasm. I love the county's argument of, they researched the living crap out of this, and they said, when there's a difference between local rules and state rules, there's a presumption the state rules rule. However, the local rules are allowed to be more strict. Okay? So, I mean, if you say, for instance, you need to have one smoke alarm in your house, that's a state law, and New York says you need to have 4, they can be more restrictive than the state, and you need to have 4 if you're in the city of Newark, okay? But if the state says you have to have 4, and New York says you only need to have 1, you still need to have 4, okay? I can get that. That makes sense, okay? We can agree on that one, right? So they say because 8:30 to 6 a.m. is 9.5 hours, and 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. is 9 hours, they're more strict because they have 1/2 hour less that they can collect. Anyway, we'll just set that aside. And then they said, well, the problem is, so we said to them, look, state law's here, you got it wrong in the county, you got to correct it. So they penned an ordinance to correct it and have it match the state as far as the 7 a.m. Zero support from council members, county council members. Remember, this is an election year, okay? County council members do not they support trash coming at 6:05 a.m., all right? Trash haulers just came up in numbers, spoke to all the council members. I have no idea if checks were exchanged. And they said, well, we have to start earlier because the transfer station where we deliver the stuff will not let us deliver after 3 p.m. And if you move us from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., then we're going to need to have 10% more trucks, and the costs for all you low-income people in the county are going to go up because you're forcing us to do this, forcing you to follow the state law, okay? And then we had one person representing a trash hauler said, oh, actually, we started at 5 a.m. in the city of Wilmington because it's so hard to navigate in there. We have to get in there early. So, again, let's go into the low-income neighborhoods and make a racket at 5 in the morning, regardless of what the state law is. And they said this out loud. Wow. So I'm like, well, what's this 3 p.m. you can't deliver after? Oh, we got that from speaking to this person at Solid Waste Authority. I'm like, okay, well, I immediately am emailing, during a Zoom meeting, emailing the guy. An hour after the meeting, I'm talking to the guy. He's like, Newcastle County is open until 5 p.m. And so they were saying, we have to keep it at 6 a.m. because they had to be finished by 3. I just gave him 2 hours. I think they can move it 1 hour. And it's like, oh my God, you guys are working on wrong information. Your legal analysis is like a I don't mean to insult any sixth graders' logic on this thing about being more strict by opening at 6 a.m. Oh my God! And that's anyway. That's where it stands. Oh, and I said, so are you telling? Oh, so the council person was saying, so we don't have the votes to do the ordinance. Our ordinance says 6 a.m. So if somebody calls up the county police, I'm pretty sure they're going to do nothing if you're complaining that they're coming in at 6:10 a.m. Like, isn't that wonderful? I tell you, democracy in action. So it was not my highlight. Finding out that they're open till 5, they are only open to 3 p.m. if you're in Kent or Sussex County. I think by definition, Newcastle County is not. I'm just thinking, maybe it's just me. So anyway, we will see how that goes.